Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you are on this world of ours. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome you to the Emergency Management Associates Network tonight. Welcome everybody. As we have been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, coming from the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We do this every night, and I swear I love it every night even more and more as we welcome these gentlemen to our show, and we welcome the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. The Pledge of Allegiance was given to us by the hosts of the Barbershop Quartet Convention. We appreciate that so much. We want to thank our military members, whoever they might be around this world, and also our allies who love the United States and support the United States in all that we do. We appreciate each and every one of you, servicemen and women. God bless you. May you all return home safely to your families after your tours of duty end. God bless you, and thank you for your service. God bless you so much. Folks, we have a lot of things we want to talk about tonight. We have a ton of stuff to talk to you tonight. The first thing we're going to do tonight is talk to you about some earthquakes. I first want to go over here to a minor earthquake. This happened just south of Mount St. Helens. Now I'm going to enlarge this a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. The USGS said this was approximately 6 miles away from Mount St. Helens. Okay? Well, guess what? It's more like 25 miles, and I'm going to say probably close to 40 miles south, directly south of Mount St. Helens. I couldn't believe when I went and did the math and figured it out. This is directly south of Mount St. Helens. It's about 40 miles south of Mount St. Helens. It looks like it's on the foothills of Mount St. Helens, and it may very well be. This may be related to Mount St. Helens. I'm not saying it's not, but it might be. Okay? We talked last night about earthquakes and tremors at Mount St. Helens. This may have been today. Okay? Now let me take you to another quake. Okay? This was over in Napa, California today. Napa, California. They had this also all discombobulated. Okay? This was also directly south of Napa County. They said it was northeast of Napa County. This was a 2.4 magnitude earthquake just south of Napa County, California. Unreal. Okay? A 2.4 earthquake. Why am I telling you all this? Because, folks, California is being knocked around right now. A ton of earthquakes all over California, and I'm going to say swarms from north to south. Swarms from north to south. Now, what does that mean? I talked with one of my dear friends that's also a moderator on this channel, and even he agreed that something has to be done. We have talked about a lot of things on this channel today. We talked a lot of things about earthquakes all over the world yesterday, today, and forever. We've talked about that. But what do you think is going on? Swarms of earthquakes north to south California, up and down the entire state. We talked about earthquakes in Oregon and Washington and off the coast. Okay? A lot of earthquakes. What do you think is going to happen? I'm going to put the word out right now. Where you see swarms of earthquakes, get ready, folks. That only means one thing. What do you think it means? It means that everybody needs to get prepared for a very large earthquake. A very large earthquake at least. Okay? An upper 5.6, 5.8, 6.0. Okay? That's what it means. And I'm going to show you seismic data tonight that might blow your mind. But you need to see this. I have been doing a ton of research today. Okay? A ton of research. Folks, this needs to be said. This needs to be said. I'm not going to say anything other than the truth. I'm going to show you nothing else but the truth. Why? Because, guys, when something happens, I've already put the warning out about it. I want everybody to understand where we're coming from and why. I'm not going to pussyfoot around. I'm not going to ask anybody to do something I'm not willing to do myself. I'm wanting everybody to get ready for a larger earthquake. A larger earthquake. Things are going to happen. I know things are going to happen. I've been talking about it for a very long time. April 3rd will be 4 years broadcasting on YouTube. Our other channel got knocked off by a hacker. Okay? But I'm back, and I'm back with a fury. I want to put out the information that everybody needs to know. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to hide anything. There's nothing to hide here. Does everybody realize what I'm saying? I'm hoping you do. I'm not asking for anything, like I said, other than what I am willing to do myself. And what's that, you might ask? I'm going to give you information every day that could save your lives and save the lives of your family and your friends. That's what we're talking about. Okay? Before I get talking about Southern California, I want to show you something. Okay? Today, this was earlier today, west of Crete, Greece. This was in the central Mediterranean Sea, just west of Crete, Greece. This was a 5.6 magnitude earthquake that happened earlier this morning. And they downgraded it immediately to 5.4. This, I'm going to tell you this was probably a much larger earthquake. And I'm going to say a 6.0. They downgraded this earthquake, and I believe it was a 6.0 magnitude earthquake. I'm not going to mess around with this. That's what it was. Okay? Those people in Greece need to be aware of it. Yes, it did not hit land. It hit out in the ocean out there. Okay? It didn't do any damage. But people need to be aware of this nonetheless. Okay? There's that. Then I want to talk about something else as well. Hold on a second. I want to show you this. I'm going to be all over the place tonight, showing you information. It's information that I believe is necessary. Before I continue on with the earthquakes, okay, this happened yesterday afternoon, about 2:14 p.m. yesterday afternoon in Nevada. In Nevada, guys. Okay? This was Lyon County, Nevada. Okay? I'm going to tell you guys, this may as well have been over in California. Nevada's getting knocked around just as much as California is. This earthquake was not due, or this train derailment was not due to anything but tracks being faulty. Tracks being faulty. Folks, I've told you about this before. Okay? I've told you this before. Tracks are faulty everywhere. But this one goes down in the record books as being as a result of maintenance problems with tracks. The Central Lyon Fire Department, the Central Lyon Fire Protection District, said that they were called to the derailment by Union Pacific about 2:10 p.m. They found 4 of the 20 cars were off the track. Other cars had low pressure tanks. Other cars were carrying propane. Okay? The only damage was to the track itself and the cars that derailed. Okay? The cars that derailed. Lyons County, where this derailment happened, was near US 95 at Buckland's Station. Buckland's Station. Union Pacific reported it. Okay? I want to make that clear too. Nobody was out there. This is out in the boondocks of Nevada. No one was anywhere near it. But I believe this was train track mismanagement. As many of these that derail are, it's because the railroads are not practicing proper train track maintenance. Okay? This is not the first of this month, nor is it the first of this year. We've had like 20 train derailments in 2.5 months. In 2.5 months. There's going to be a lot more than that. Okay? A lot more than that. Now, folks, I'm not going to gloss over this. The train companies are not doing their jobs. I'm sorry to say. I back the train companies. I love trains. I've always told you this, that I love trains. I always have. My grandparents worked on the trains. My mother's father worked in San Diego for Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe before Burlington Northern bought him out and changed it to Burlington Northern Santa Fe. My father worked for the Union Pacific as a blacksmith, fixing cars and manufacturing parts for locomotives and railroad cars. There was, the last time I checked, about 10 or 12 years ago, there was a locomotive that was built in 1860. A steam locomotive built in 1860. It was in the Southern California Railroad Museum in Orange County, near Paris, California. Actually, it's on the outskirts of Paris, California. If anybody ever gets there, look for a locomotive that's there. The history of it is it went between Salt Lake City and Pocatello. That railroad locomotive went between Salt Lake City and Pocatello as a freight and a passenger train. Back in the day, they also carried freight. Okay, it went back and forth between Salt Lake City and Pocatello. Then it sat in a park in Salt Lake City and nobody did anything with it. Then the Southern California Railroad Museum in Paris got it there and they put it on display. They refurbished the locomotive and put it on display. I love trains. I've been there. If anybody can get me another picture, I lost the previous picture that I had. I would love to see that locomotive. Anyway, let's get on with this, okay? I have a lot more to share with you. As we said before, we're going to be talking about earthquakes. This slide here is in Barstow. This is California State Barstow, okay? This is where the seismograph is at. Folks, look at what we see here. This is out in the desert. What is responsible for all these tremors here? There's nothing more than tremors here, but there's a lot of them. There is very few microquakes here. Most of this is all tremors, okay? Upwards of 1.4 tremors here. And it doesn't stop. The tremors increased at a certain point early this morning. And then it continued, and then they got very rough with the tremors. There's no earthquakes here, but these are all tremors in Barstow. This is out in the desert. This is the San Andreas Fault out here. The San Andreas Fault. And this isn't all. This is not all at all. There's a ton of stuff going on here. Okay? Yes, I'm starting off with, well, I'm sorry, this is Bakersfield, not Barstow. This is Bakersfield. Nonetheless, this is a San Andreas Fault doing this. Okay? Over in Barstow, okay, look at this. All we have in Barstow, folks, is minor tremors and microquakes for the most part. Microquakes for the most part and some minor tremors here. This is further out. This is further out in the desert. but it's the San Andreas Fault that is causing these activities here in Barstow. Okay? Now let's take this even further. Okay? I want to go out to, where do I want to go to from here? I want to go to Idlewild. Okay? Idlewild is in the Anza area. Okay? This is a very, what shall I say, a very important part of Southern California. This is the Anza Gap. We see earthquakes and tremors building up in this area. Here you see a ton of tiny tremors here. 1.0s, basically. But there's a ton of them. Again, this is the Anza Gap. Right? Then, where do we go from there? Let's go out to Joshua Tree Monument. Okay? This is also out here near the San Andreas Fault. Again, we see a bunch of 1.0s here. A bunch of 1.0s. What am I leading to? As we go further south in the desert, towards the end of this broadcast, you're going to see the tremors turn into earthquakes. A ton. I want to say a ton of earthquakes. Okay? It's going to be probably crazy. The only thing I can say is you guys might be amazed at what we will show you tonight. In Southern California, there are a bunch of earthquakes. I'm not going to hide it from you. There's a ton of earthquakes out there. If some of you aren't aware of it, it might be because you don't live there. That's all I can say. It might be because some of you don't live in that area. Those of you that do, you have found yourselves being shaken. Either being shaken awake, or during the day you're walking and you feel movement beneath your feet. That's why. Okay? That's exactly why. Folks, it's sometimes scary. I have walked along the shores of the Salton Sea. I have walked along the beaches of San Diego. I have walked around Los Angeles and various other places on the outskirts of Los Angeles when I visited my friends out there. When I was visiting my friends out there, occasionally we would feel a minor tremor beneath our feet. What was that? It was sometimes tremors, and other times it was full-blown 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes. When it was 3.5 earthquakes, we were rocking around a little bit on our feet. We felt those. Those will be unnerving for anyone. Literally unnerving for anyone. But the fact of the matter is, earthquakes are getting more and more frequent. Earthquakes are getting to the point where they're happening in the least places that we might have found them before. Unknown places. Now the scriptures teach us a lot. They say that in the last days, mountains will be moved. In the last days, the earth will be rocked to and fro. And that's exactly what is happening. Earthquakes are being all over the place, guys. What I'm going to show you tonight is going to be unnerving for some. Some of you that live in Southern California will be amazed by what you see. Some others of you that have been around me a lot, been on this channel a lot, already know what I'm saying. This may not come as a surprise to any of you, but folks, it will continue to rattle your minds. Okay? It will rattle your minds. Joshua trees out in the desert of Southern California. Yes, we see these tremors all the time. Most people don't even know them, don't even realize that they're happening. But folks, they are. I'm just trying to bring them out so everyone will be on the same page. Okay? You need to be aware of what's going on. You need to know your surroundings. Be aware of everything that's happening, because Southern California is about to get hit. Okay? Southern California is about to get hit. I'm not showing you these seismograms for anybody to worry. I'm showing you these seismograms so that you will know that you need to be prepared. That's why I'm bringing them out. Okay? Now, I want to take you out to the Fox Airport. It's out in Lancaster in the desert just east of Los Angeles. Okay, look at this. Again, these are a little bit larger tremors. These in and of itself are not full-blown earthquakes. Earthquakes are 2.0 to 8.0, 9.0, 10.0. 2.0 to 2.9 are minor earthquakes. 3.0 to 3.9 are small earthquakes. 4.0 to 4.9 are considered to be moderate earthquakes. 5.0 to 5.9 are considered to be large earthquakes, with 5.5 to 5.9 being considered very large earthquakes. 6.0 to 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. 7.0 and larger are considered to be major earthquakes. Anything over a 5.0 can cause major damage. Anything over a 5.0 can be considered to be causing major damage and kill people. They have done that. Large earthquakes have killed hundreds of thousands of people over the years when they strike on land in populated areas. In populated areas that are out in underdeveloped countries, I should say, it can cause major damage and death, because their buildings are not built up to earthquake standards. Some of those people live in huts, cardboard shanties at best. I've seen pictures, I've seen video. It's pretty bad. When a large earthquake hits there, it devastates their area. But it happens. It happens. This is the Fox Airport in Lancaster. Now I want to show you where the Fox Airport is. Okay, this is a map where the Fox Airport is. You can see Lancaster Armory here, near that airport. Okay, that's where it's located. That's where this seismograph is. Okay, just so you know. Now, let's go over here more to the ocean. This is Southern California out at sea. Okay, this is the Channel Islands. The Channel Islands off the coast of Los Angeles. Okay, you see here minor tremors all over the place. More frequent than the other tremors that you just saw out in the desert. This is the Channel Islands just off the coast of Los Angeles. What is going on? Why do we get earthquakes out here? We have faults out here in the ocean as well. In this case, in this particular case, ladies and gentlemen, the Channel Islands are affected by quite a few different fault systems. Okay? One of those faults is called the Inglewood, oh gosh, what was it? It's a Newport-Inglewood fault. Okay? It's just one of the many faults out here in this area. Now, the Newport-Inglewood fault runs south along the coast. Then it turns inland about Encinitas, California, down in North San Diego County. At that time, it's called the Rose Canyon Fault. It runs through San Diego County, runs through downtown San Diego County, and back out into the harbor of San Diego, over towards Coronado, and then out to sea. That fault can generate a 7.5 magnitude earthquake. I want to show you the Channel Islands for a reason. It's not just on land in Southern California. Some of the Channel Islands are not populated. Some of them are. Some of them are used by tourists a lot, like Avalon. Avalon, also off the coast of Los Angeles. It's only a short, I think an hour and a half trip by ferry to Aveyah. Other islands here are also populated, and others are not populated. Others are used by the military as a bombing range. Okay? But I wanted to show you this for a reason. These fault systems run out in the harbor and out at the sea. Okay? Out in the Pacific Ocean out here. Okay? I hope you understand why I'm telling you this. It's not just on land. It could be anywhere. Literally anywhere. All right. I want to show you, I'm going to be bouncing around just a little bit. Okay? And that's because I want to show you these desert areas before I show you the more populated areas. Okay? Let's go out to Rancho Mirage. Again, Rancho Mirage is out in the desert. The San Andreas Fault makes this area shake. Again, we're not seeing anything over a 1.4 magnitude tremor out here in the desert. This whole area is shaking. Now, I checked Palm Springs. Guess what? They had that seismograph turned off. Nothing was showing on the Palm Springs seismogram at all. Nothing but horizontal lines. No bumps, no ridges on those lines at all, meaning the seismograph was turned off, which is unfortunate. We've seen earthquakes, large and very strong earthquakes out in Palm Springs, in Rancho Mirage. That's why I'm talking about it. Okay, let's continue here. Let's see, where do I want to go here? All right, let's go up north of Los Angeles. The Baldwin Hills pumping operation, oil and gas pumping operation. We're not seeing much happen here. All we're seeing are very light tremors, 1.0 tremors, except about 10:02 a.m. this morning. 10:02 a.m. this morning, we had a 1.5 tremor here. But again, USGS did not put it on their map. They never do. Very rarely have we seen a 1.5 tremor reported. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but not this time. Okay, 1.5 tremor out at the Baldwin Hills today. Now, people live on the outskirts of the Baldwin Hills oil pumping operation. Okay, the Baldwin Hills was an area, folks, where there was a lot of pumping operation going on. A ton. The Baldwin Hills got started in the early 30s and 40s, and I think possibly even before that. The Baldwin Hills were hills with trees and little streams flowing through the area. They were bulldozed over, made flat. So they brought oil derricks in, oil and gas derricks everywhere. Okay, pumps and jacks. Now that's all you see over there in the Baldwin Hills. There's no trees, no nothing. The only things you could call trees are the great big huge pieces of steel bobbing up and down, pumping oil and gas. Okay, but that's what's happening there. All right, let's go over to the area of Los Angeles. Okay, I want you to see Los Angeles. Good old Los Angeles. Okay, this seismogram is showing less data than it has ever shown before. There's very little going on here. Now, I have asked this question before, and I will ask it again. Did the seismograph get turned down? Because there's very little of anything happening here in the downtown area of Los Angeles. And I question what is actually happening here, because they're not showing anything. Okay? But I wanted to show you this. We've seen this kind of stuff happening a lot, where they turn down the seismograph so it doesn't give us any information. It's not the first time. Let us go over to north of Los Angeles to a town called Del Amo, a minor city just north of Los Angeles. And this is why I question whether the city of Los Angeles turned down their seismograph. And who runs it? Who runs it? USGS, of course. Caltech. Caltech and USGS goes hand in hand. Okay? It's in the Emergency Operations Office in the bottom of the big, huge LA building, the city-county building there. But look what's going on here in Del Amo, just north of Los Angeles. Okay? Look at all these earthquakes and tremors. It's not just tremors here. We do have some 2.0, 2.2 magnitude earthquakes in the center of this seismogram. Look in the red area in the center here. Okay, you can't see the bottoms because the bottom of it is being hid by the seismic activity that happened after that. Okay, this is the 915 line, this red line here. In the center of it, it gets quite active. 2.0 earthquakes, tremors. Not tremors, 2.0 minor earthquakes. And then on the 930 line in blue, moving over to about 907, 908, 938 this morning. Okay, 938 this morning on the blue line here. Those are probably 2.5, 2.6 magnitude earthquakes. But after that, all we're seeing is tremors. Why did it calm down? I can't answer that. But earlier this morning, we had some earthquakes. It's not showing on the USGS map of Los Angeles. Nothing. But on the seismogram, you can see what's going on. That was Del Amo. Let me show you another one here. I want to go over to Pardee. Look at this. This is just a small bit busier than what we showed you yesterday. Okay? This is just a slight bit busier. There's nothing here but minor tremors. There are absolutely no earthquakes at all. Minor tremors from the start of this seismogram at 5 a.m. this morning through just after 2:30, almost 2:45 when I pulled this seismogram. That's why you don't see 2:45 here. Okay? But this is still a lot of information to us. Nothing major is happening here in Del Amo. But let's go on. Nothing's happening in Pardee. Yet. Okay? Let's go over to the coast again. Laguna Bell. Laguna Bell. Those of you that live in Los Angeles know where Laguna Bell is. It's a very nice upper, what shall I say, upper wealth-wise, people with money here. This is a beautiful area. All we're seeing today are minor tremors. That's it. Very, very minor tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.3 tremors. Nothing more than that. Very quiet here in Laguna Bell. Okay, let's continue here. I've shown you Pardee. I have shown you a few other things here. Rinaldi, that's another one I want to show you. Rinaldi. Here we see some earthquakes. Okay? Here we see some minor earthquakes. For the most part, at 5 a.m. this morning and after, all we see are very minor tremors. But let's go over to the 7 a.m. line. This black line over on the left says 7 a.m. this morning. We go almost just past the center here. This is probably about 7:10, 7:11 a.m. this morning. We have a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. Not reported, but here it is. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake. You can see the seismic energy building just prior to the main shock. Then after that shock, you see the secondary quake happen. The secondary wave happen. Then it builds up again to about a 2.0, 2.2 again. And it's only a very, very light earthquake. It lasts about a second. And then again it goes into a body wave real quickly. There's almost no secondary wave. It goes into a body wave very quickly. And after that, all we have is tremors here. That's it. Nothing bigger than that. This is Rinaldi in Los Angeles. Okay? Now, let me turn you to okay, I want to go over to Walnut La Puente. Walnut La Puente. Folks, this is a very unique area. This area is part of a huge caldera. There's a volcano there. There's a volcano. The history's out there. Walnut La Puente is a volcanic area. The town of Walnut sits in the caldera. So does La Puente. Okay? But look here. Look at these earthquakes. These are full-blown earthquakes. For the most part, 3.0 and larger. 3.0, 3.5. Some of these may even be 4.5s. Upwards of 4.5s. Why am I saying that? One, they're not being reported. Okay? There was a news station, I think it was KTLA. They felt shaking, but they didn't know anything. It was very light shaking where they were. They were away from the main center of the quake, away from the epicenter. Okay? But here you're seeing the earthquakes. This is not a joke. Some of these quakes are lasting 2 and nearly 3 minutes. 2 and nearly 3 minutes. Why am I saying that? Let's go over to the top right, the black area. This is just before 6:15. This is 6:14 a.m. this morning. Okay? 6:14 a.m. this morning. That earthquake just right there. And it doesn't stop there. That was 1 full minute. And prior to that, there was some foreshocks. Okay? Foreshocks. Tremors before that. Then we go over to the left-hand side in the red area. That is 6:15. So this earthquake started at 6:14. It continued over to 6:15 and 6:16, lasting a full 2 minutes. We can't see the bottom parts of this quake at all because they're covered up by earthquakes that happened after that. This is big time, guys. This is big time. Walnut La Puente is also a volcano. Some of this may be due to magma beneath the surface. That's what I'm saying. We've seen this same thing happen over at Mount Shasta nearly 2 years ago when we were showing you seismograms from that. Mount Shasta on the north side had a seismogram that was showing this very same kind of activity before they turned it off. Because heaven forbid the people of Mount Shasta know what's going on. But we're seeing this same activity here. And I showed you other activity before just like this. Okay? But this is Walnut La Puente. Okay? We're seeing a lot of tremors being shown by the agency, but they're not showing everything. And it's very apparent that they don't care to show everything going on. Let's go over to Fontana. Fontana over in Orange County. This is Cal Electric. This is a commercial business, Cal Electric, in Fontana. That's where this seismograph is located. Here we're seeing tremors and also 2.0, 2.4, maybe even 2.5 magnitude earthquakes. Why am I saying that? Let's go over to 5:02 a.m. this morning. Up on the top left. Look what happened there. We can see the black part of the earthquake at the bottom. We can't see the top because it's cut off by the paper. This was at least a 2.5, and I'm going to even call it a 2.7 minor earthquake. It was close to a 3. We can see the bottom, we can see the top. That's nearly a 3.0. This is in Fontana, on the east side of LA, Orange County. Now we see another episode here on the blue line to the far right. The blue line on the left would be 5:30. Over here, this would probably be 5:43 a.m. this morning. Again, this appears to me, because all I can see is the top of this quake in the blue, this appears to be at least and I'm saying a 2.8, 2.9 magnitude earthquake. Okay? A 2.8, 2.9 magnitude earthquake. And we see some other areas here that may have been at least a 2.0, 2.4. All over this seismogram. We can't see the bottoms, but in some way we see the top of these earthquakes, these tremors. At the bottom, over in the red and on the black at the very bottom. Okay, the black is 2 p.m. on the left. You see a bunch of tremors, don't you? The black line is 2 p.m. on the left-hand side. Over here on the right, this is just prior to 2:15. Just prior to 2:15. We had another 2.4, 2.5 magnitude earthquake. We can see the bottom, but we can't see the top because of the preceding seismic activity. Okay, over here on the left in the red, these are just minor tremors for the most part. I believe they're just minor tremors. 1.8, 1.7 over here, just after 2:17. 2:17, 2:18. Okay? Just barely. It's not even earthquake status. It's just tremors. But you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay? Even eastern Los Angeles County, Orange County, is getting hit. Okay? Now let's pay attention to the inner part of Los Angeles. Okay? Actually, right before we do that, let's go over to Chino Hills. Chino, California. Look at this, guys. This is just as big as last week's seismogram. Nothing more than tremors happening here. Good-sized tremors, small tremors, but decent tremors nonetheless. Okay? It's still shaking over in Chino, California. But it's not shaking any more than this, which I'm grateful for. I have friends over in Chino. We have EMA family that lives in Chino. Okay? We're thankful for them. I'm hoping that nothing happens over there. However, we have seen large earthquakes hit Chino before. Okay? I'm trying to let you know what is going on. Carol Murphy says, is asking, does Ron have a Facebook group? I have quite a few Facebook groups. Okay? You can go over there to Facebook, Messenger. Well, let's talk just Facebook right now. A Facebook group. Okay? It's called Earthquakes and Volcanoes. Earthquakes and Volcanoes. Let me go over there right now, matter of fact. Okay? Let's see here. Go over to disaster warnings. There's a group called disaster warnings. That is the one you want to join if you can. Okay? And if you ask there and you get appointed to that group, you can ask to be a member of that group. And sometimes I get the request and I answer it. Please answer the questions. There are questions that we pose to be able to join the Facebook groups. Answer the questions so you will be invited to be part of the group. We have had people that don't answer the questions to the Facebook groups that we will not invite into the EMA family, because it turns out that these people that don't answer questions don't really want to be part of the group and turn out to be trolls. But disaster warnings will get you into one of the biggest groups, because it is not just about earthquakes. It's about disasters of any kind. We talk about volcanoes, a separate and intense group in that same group. Okay? Volcanoes. We talk about earthquakes. We talk about floods. We talk about fires. We talk about weather. All part of the disaster warnings group. Okay? Just so you know. Now there also is another group. Okay? There's another group that I want you to be aware of. It's run by Rebecca Temple. Okay? Rebecca Temple. She has a group called oh gosh. Hold on a second. It's called, I'm sorry. Her group is NCWQ Explorer. N is in Nancy, C is in Charles, W is in William, Q is in Queen. NCWQ Explorer. Okay? She has her own YouTube channel as well. I encourage you guys to go over there and look at it. Okay? Go over and look at it. She has a link in her Facebook page. And I'm going to post this. Well, no, I can't. I will post a link to my comments section after this broadcast is over. But gosh, I can't even talk today. NCWQ Explorer is a very great place to talk about earthquakes, and she's very knowledgeable. Rebecca is a member of our channel. She sometimes goes on the air prior to us going on the air here. She went on the air just after 5 p.m. this evening on the East Coast. Okay? She probably got off the air before we got on the air. Okay? She and I talked this morning as well. Okay? But I want you to know what is going on. Don Patoka, one of my mods, one of my best friends, says he is hiding. He's in the chat today saying he is hiding. That's interesting. That's funny. Hurricane Heather says she's in weather and wildfires. She monitors the weather and wildfires on that disaster group that I spoke about. Okay? But anyway, I want you to be aware of what's going on. That's why we do this program. That's why we have these groups. But again, when you go to the groups, ask permission. Put in a request to join the groups and answer the questions. Usually there's only 2 or 3 questions. Answer the questions, and if my mods and I see those questions answered and they're realistic answers, then we invite you to join the group. If they're not realistic answers, you probably won't get invited to the group. Okay? Anyway, getting back to this seismogram here. This is Chino, California. Again, we've seen a lot of activity in Chino before. Today, there's very little activity. This has not changed from last week. And I don't think they just copied and pasted this seismogram here. Yes, USGS and Caltech do that. We've caught them doing it. But I don't think they're doing it this time. Okay? We talked about Laguna Bell. We talked about, oh gosh, what was it? Playa del Rey, no, we haven't either. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey. This is on the north end of Los Angeles, the northern end of Los Angeles County. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey. This is a very exclusive community. A lot of financial people live here, people with a lot of money. Okay, out in the harbor there, they have yachts and boats. There's a lot of money there. But look what happened middle of the morning today. Okay? Middle of the morning today, we had some what I determined to be large tremors. I believe these are nothing more than large tremors. 1.6, 1.7 tremors. Okay? I don't believe any of these were earthquakes, but large tremors nonetheless. Because the rest of this seismogram is fairly minor tremors. Okay? The top of it, we could consider the top of this seismogram to be microquakes. But after 6 a.m., they became tremors. Okay? And they built and built, and they started going crazy just after 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 10:15. Then it died off. And after that, it was just minor 1.0, 1.2 tremors. That's all it's here. Okay? This is Marina del Rey and Playa del Rey on the coast of Los Angeles. Okay? I was worried for a little bit. I had to do a lot of research on that one. But again, I do not believe it's anything more than that. If it was, I would tell you. Okay? Now, I want to tell you what is going on over by Long Beach. Okay? Let's go to look at light hype. This is light hype, ladies and gentlemen. This is just as busy as last week. Just as busy as last week. Now, last week we thought there were some 2.5, 2.8, and even maybe a 3.0 earthquake last week. All we're seeing here is nothing but tremors. I don't think anything was more than a 1.8, 1.9 tremor. Okay? That's all we see here at Light Hype. This is just east of Long Beach. Down at the bottom, specifically, and the top on the black line. The blue line at the bottom and the top black line. If there were any earthquakes here, we would probably see them this morning or this afternoon. But all we see are tremors here. Nothing but tremors here at Light Hype. Now, just down the way in the Long Beach area, there's another place we call State Street. And State Street is where we usually see more problems. And today, that's exactly what we're seeing. Look at this. Okay? This is not just minor tremors. Up at the top of this, we see earthquake. Up at the top towards the center right. Okay? This is at just after about 5:12 a.m. this morning. 5:11, 5:12 a.m. this morning. That, folks, is at least a 2.0 magnitude earthquake. We can't see the bottom because of the other seismic activity after that. Okay? But we can see the top. And it was off the paper. So this was probably at least a 2.0, 2.4 magnitude earthquake. And we can see some other possible 2.0 activity after that. Okay? And then throughout this seismogram, if we look closely, we can probably see some 2.8, 2.9 magnitude earthquakes, minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.9 are considered to be minor earthquakes. Then we look at the bottom. The bottom of the top of the seismogram, in this case, where it's got almost completely covered in color, we look at the bottom to see what happened. The bottom was going to tell us more or less what happened the rest of the day. Okay, yes, we do have some minor tremors here. 1.3, 1.4, maybe even 1.5. But then again, we have some long seismic events here. Probably 2.0 magnitude earthquakes tops. This blue one on the right-hand side is concerning. This is the only one that could probably be a 2.9 or larger earthquake, meaning a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Over here in the bottom right, in the blue. Before that, there's an earthquake in the red, just above it. That is I want to say it's 2:18 p.m. this afternoon. If it is true in the center of this particular seismic event, this may be a 3.0. This earthquake in red may be a 3.0. At I want to say 2:28 this afternoon. 2:28 this afternoon may be a 3.0, and that's the only one. That's the only one that I can see that may be a 3. All the others are just minor earthquakes. 2.0s, 2.5s. Okay? This is State Street over by Long Beach. This is what we should be considered to be critical. If we have an earthquake in this area, it's going to be centered in this area. If we have a larger earthquake, it's going to be centered somewhere in this area. We have seen earthquakes happen in Northridge. We've seen earthquakes in Inglewood, Newport Beach. We've seen earthquakes in Chino. We've seen earthquakes out in Fontana. It can happen anywhere. But I think, considering what we're showing you here from the seismograms, if this shaking continues, we are going to have a much larger earthquake in this area. You can take that to the bank. The agencies are not being honest with any of us. They never have been. I don't think they really want to be honest with anybody. But this is what we're seeing in Los Angeles. Okay? But there are a lot of things here that we want to talk about. And we're trying to show them to you tonight. Now, I'm going further south. Okay? We're going to go down okay. This is Walnut La Puente. Okay? I showed you this a few minutes ago. I want to show you on the map where it is, because I forgot to show you when I had this up before. I'm showing you exactly where Walnut is. Okay? If you are or have been in Los Angeles and you know the freeway system, Diamond Bar is up along Highway 57 up here. Highway 57. If you go almost straight west and south, you're going to run into Walnut La Puente. This is where the caldera is. Okay, Walnut La Puente. It's in the middle of LA, north of Los Angeles City. But this is where Walnut is, just so you know. Okay? That's Walnut. Now, I want to go and show you just a couple other things before we go down to Imperial Valley, California. Okay? This is the University of Southern California, Los Angeles. Okay? This is pretty much what we see from day to day, week to week here at USC. Okay? These are nothing but minor tremors. 1.0, 1.1 tremors. I don't see anything much bigger than 1.2 here. This is just very minor seismic activity here at USC, California. Okay? Just minor tremors, nothing more than that. Now, I want to go over to another town. Okay? This is not in the good area of Los Angeles. This is called Watts. Watts. Now, last year and the year before, Watts was showing a lot of seismic activity, a lot bigger seismic activity than we're even showing you here now. Okay? The biggest thing we have is up on the right here. That's the biggest tremor we have. And this might be a 1.4, maybe close to 1.5 tremor, nothing bigger. Okay, this is just minor activity. Very minor activity. Okay? Throughout this entire seismogram, that's literally all we see here. Just minor activity. Okay? My monitor just went dead on me. There we go. I'm back on that. I don't know why my computer does this on this particular monitor. If I don't click on it or something, the monitor will go on. Anyway, this is down in Watts in Los Angeles. This is not a good place to be. Okay? But all we're seeing here is tremors. Very, very minor tremors. We were seeing some 2.0 earthquakes last year. Okay? But this is not a good area to be in. Okay? Let me go down and show you where Aveyah's granny lives. This lady is a wonderful lady. I count her as a very dear friend of mine. This is Victorville, California. Victorville, California. This is actually one of the busiest seismograms that I've seen here in Victorville in quite some time. This is the San Andreas Fault that's just barely east of Victorville. This is the San Andreas Fault. Look up here at the top. Okay, this is about 5:08 a.m. this morning. Look at what we've got here. This is a 1.5 tremor here. A 1.5 tremor. And we have one other one after about 8:44 a.m. this morning. But that's the biggest events that we've had here today in Victorville. This is one of the busiest seismograms that I've seen in Victorville ever. Victorville's had large earthquakes before too. Okay? But this is nothing. This is literally nothing out there in Victorville. We've had lesser seismogram before. I spoke with Aveyah's granny several months back, and there was absolutely nothing going on. The seismogram had a bunch of tremors, but that's it. Normally, people cannot feel tremors. Almost never. And today we had some larger tremors, and that's all. Now, I want to take you over to the Salton Sea area. Okay, the first one I'm going to show you at the Salton Sea, I'm actually going to show you a map of the Salton Sea, where you know what I'm talking about. See that earthquake right here? See that earthquake highlighted right there? This was a 2.7 magnitude earthquake in the Salton Sea, south of Bombay Beach. South of Bombay Beach. To the northeast of Bombay, or northeast of the Salton Sea, just on the northeast corner of the Salton Sea, we have North Shore Salton Sea. Just north of that earthquake is Bombay Beach. Just south of there, at the southern end, southeastern end of the Salton Sea, we have Nyland, and we also have Calipatria. I'm going to show you a seismogram from Calipatria in just a few minutes. Let's go further west here. Further west. Just south of the Salton Sea here, near the western shore, we have a town called Westmoreland. I'm going to show you a seismogram from Westmoreland as well. Just south of there, in a town called Imperial, the town of Imperial, I'm going to show you a seismogram there. Okay? I wanted to make sure that you understood what we're talking about here. Okay? So this earthquake in blue is south of Bombay Beach. Where you see the Salton Sea on the eastern side of the Salton Sea, this red line, that is a San Andreas fault. Right before it enters underneath the Salton Sea is Bombay Beach. Northeast corner again is North Shores. North Shore, Salton Sea. Over here on the left-hand side, on the west of the Salton Sea, just about 3/4 of an inch down, that is Salton City. Salton City. Okay? Again, over here on the southwestern shore, just south of the Salton Sea here, is Westmoreland, and south of there is Imperial. If you go almost straight east from Imperial, you're going to come to a town called Holtville. Holtville. That is where the Salton Sea Desert Research Station is. Holtville. I'm going to show you a seismogram from Holtville as well. See those earthquakes off to the further west of the Salton Sea? That is Borrego Springs. Borrego Springs. Well, guess what, guys? The seismogram from Borrego Springs did not even show you those tremors. 1.4, 1.7 tremors at Borrego Springs. Didn't show anything. That other orange-brown dot there near the bottom left of this slide, that is Julian, also with a 1.5 tremor. That's what we're showing you. Okay? So, with that said, let's show you some earthquakes and tremors there around the Salton Sea. Okay? Let's go over here first. This is the North Shore Salton Sea. Okay? Now I'm going to have to make this smaller here, and I'm sorry it came out this way. Sorry guys, I'm having to resize this. My bad. Okay, now I'm going to raise it up and make it better. Okay, when I pulled this seismogram this afternoon, it was just after 2:30. That's why you see this blue line down at the bottom being 2:30, not 2:45, which would have been a green line. Okay? But all you're seeing is minor tremors here at the north shore of Salton Sea. Okay? Nothing more than minor tremors, maybe microquakes at the very least. But the bigger stuff is just minor tremors. Nothing more than that. That's usually what we've seen at North Shore Salton Sea. Just minor tremors. We have on occasion seen larger tremors. But in this case there's not much happening there. Okay? Let's continue on. I want to take you over to oh gosh, where should I take you now? Let's go over to Westmoreland. Okay? This is Westmoreland on the southwestern side of the Salton Sea. There are a bunch of microquakes here. The tiny vibrational lines you see are just microquakes. Then it gets to be tremors after that. You can see the tremor increase here. Okay? But this was nothing more than probably 1.3, 1.4 tremors at best today. At best. Okay, we have friends of the EMA show there in Westmoreland. I count them friends of mine, friends of the show and friends of mine. Okay, now I want to go over to Holtville. Okay, Holtville is about 25 miles south of the Salton Sea. Okay, this is where the Salton Sea Desert Research Station is. Okay, now I pulled this right after 2:15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, it was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this was 2:20 p.m. I pulled this seismogram. You can see nothing more than good-sized tremors here. There are no earthquakes on this seismogram. Up here just after 9:30 this morning. Okay, on the right-hand side, you see the 9:15 line. Okay, but over on this right-hand side, this turns into 9:20 a.m. this morning. Turns into 9:20 a.m. and it starts building tremor activity. You see 1.3, 1.4 tremors. It's building. Then it gets to be 9:30 on the blue line on the left-hand side. What do we have here? This is a 2.5 magnitude earthquake. We can't see the bottom of it, but we see the top of that earthquake. That's a 2.5 magnitude earthquake, minor earthquake. After that 2.5 eases, we see a secondary wave, and those are just minor tremors after that. But it goes out about a minute and a half. So this was at least a 2.5 magnitude earthquake, because after it goes out to the right after that, the secondary wave travels for a minute and a half. Then it turns into a body wave after that. Okay, but that's the biggest earthquake of the day. But it starts at 9:24, 9:25 a.m. this morning, and it continues. Okay, it built up in terms of tremors, continued on till just after 9:30, and it blew into an earthquake. That's sometimes what happens. It takes a long period of time for the seismic energy to build. We've had earthquakes that just hit. There is no seismic activity at all prior to that. They just hit. Sometimes we get foreshocks. Most of the time we do, but not always. In this case, there was quite a bit of seismic energy before the main quake. Okay, that's what we're saying down here in Holtville. Holtville has seen 2.5, 2.6 minor earthquakes. They've also seen 3.5. They've also seen a 5.0 in 1995. 1995, a 5.0. I was there. Okay? I was there in Holtville. Okay? Now, I've shown you Salton City. I have shown you Westmoreland. I'm going to show you Imperial. Imperial is south of Westmoreland. Okay? Right here. Now, what happened here? Just similar to an earlier seismogram that I showed you, guess what happened? That earlier seismogram was at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. when the seismic energy shifted. This happened after 9:30. 9:30. Before that, we had some tremors at about 8 a.m. 7:35, minor tremors on that green line. Then after 8 a.m., about 8:08, 8:07 a.m., we had a bunch of tremors, didn't we? Okay? It got to be decent out there. I shouldn't say 8:30. 7:45. 7:50. That's when the tremor started. Then after 8 a.m., it starts again. Okay? About 8:08, 8:09. And it lasted for about 3.5 minutes. Then we see some minor tremor buildup after 10 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. Then at 10:30, on the blue line here, we see it kick into high gear. It got up to 2.3, 2.4 magnitude earthquake on the blue line. Then it dissipates into a body wave. It turns into or not dissipates into a body wave, dissipates into a secondary wave and turns into a body wave for a few seconds and then builds up again. Builds up into tremors. And it shakes and shakes and shakes. It shakes for about 4 minutes. Then after that, now we're on the 10:45 green line. It starts off with tremors again. 1.5, 1.6, maybe 1.7 tremors. Then it builds and builds again. About 10:49 a.m. this morning, we had another 2.0 earthquake. And the shaking continued, but just minor tremors after that. Okay? This is what can happen there. Okay? We've seen larger earthquakes here at Imperial before. We've seen 3.0, 3.5 magnitude earthquakes here at Imperial. Okay? Now, prior to me ever coming on the air, Imperial was hit with 5.0 earthquakes. Okay? We saw it. We've seen it. When we had a 5.0 earthquake just south of the Salton Sea before. Remember us hearing Miss Lucy Jones telling us, oh, nothing's going on. Nothing's going on. It's going to dissipate and go away. Well, guess what? What have we been showing you so far? It's not going away. Seismic energy is building. It's building south of the Salton Sea for the most part. Over on the eastern side at Bombay Beach, we see some 3.0 activity, don't we? Big time. Big time. Okay? It happens. And it's going to continue to happen. This is Bombay Beach. Okay? Similar to Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey. Or no. La Puente. I'm sorry, Walnut and La Puente area. Seen the same thing. Okay? These are 2.8, 2.9, 3.0 magnitude earthquakes. In some parts, they, at the top blue line there that you see, that earthquake there, that may have been a 3.5 earthquake. Okay? They cut off the top and the bottom of it. When they cut them off, we know for a fact that they're large earthquakes. They're not 5s, but they're 3.5s. Okay? And that's what we're seeing throughout this seismogram here. This is on the eastern side of the Salton Sea. And we've had friends of ours that have gone there and they have felt these earthquakes happen. Okay? This happens. All right? Now, I want to show you something else here. And this is again important. Okay? This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Okay? I told you we'd be seeing Calipatria, and that is what we're seeing here. Let me enlarge this so you can truly see it. Okay? In Calipatria, again, this is Caltech that's given us a seismogram. Okay? we're seeing these tremors and earthquakes. These red lines on this seismogram are from the USGS computer. They're showing this because the red lines are supposed to catch the attention of the seismologists. Okay? Up at the top here, we can't see the top of this red line here. Okay? This happened after 4:30 yesterday afternoon. Just after 4:30 yesterday afternoon. It says 16:30 over on the right hand side, or left hand side here. Okay? About 4:35 yesterday afternoon. We can't see the top of it, but this is probably a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. We see the bottom of it, and if the bottom's any equal to the top, or the top is anything equal to the bottom, then we have at least a 2.5 earthquake. We see some 2.0s and 2.2s, 2.3s here. We also see lesser tremors here as well. Okay? But look what happens after midnight. Look what happens after midnight. After about 4 a.m., the tremors go off the charts here. Okay? Look at the amount of tremors that we're getting out there in the southeastern part of Imperial County. There's over 150 tremors and earthquakes on this seismogram alone. Over 150 tremors and earthquakes here on this seismogram. Now, I'm showing you 10:30 a.m. this morning. In the center of your screen here, 10:30 a.m. this morning. That is an earthquake, guys. That is an earthquake. They cut off the top and the bottom of it. This by itself is a 2.4 magnitude earthquake. They cut the bottom and the top off. I believe this may have been a 3.5 magnitude earthquake. Okay? They don't cut the tops and the bottoms of these quakes off very often. But when we see something like this, we definitely know that they have played games here. Okay? You see other red images here that the computer had. 2.0 magnitude earthquakes, 2.3, 2.4 magnitude earthquakes. Over here on the left-hand side, okay, this red-lined quake here, this is after 1:45 p.m. this afternoon. That red line is pretty active, isn't it? That's probably 2.5, 2.6 magnitude earthquake, minor earthquake there. Over on the right-hand side, the far right-hand side over here, this is 1:39 p.m. This, folks, is almost a 3.0. This looks to me to be a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Seismic activity is happening in the Imperial Valley. They are just not showing it. That's a problem with USGS and Caltech. They don't want to be honest with any of us as to what is going on. If you guys live in Southern California, right now, I'm telling you, Los Angeles or San Diego is going to get hit. You don't see this many earthquakes and tremors happen very often. When we get large numbers of tremors and earthquakes, it usually means that there is a much larger earthquake coming. And in this case, it could be anywhere from 5.0 to a 7.0 earthquake. A 5.0 to a 7.0 earthquake hitting. whether they want to take responsibility or not. This is the truth, guys. You cannot underestimate these seismograms. They are telling you the truth. Whether USGS or any other agency wants to tell us, guess what? If they don't want to tell us the truth, they're not going to. They're not going to. But I'm telling you guys, as I'm sitting here before you tonight, this is going to happen. It's a matter of time. This is going to happen. It's literally a matter of time. Now I'm going to have to refresh this site here, because they continue to take it down, which they just did. Doesn't show anything, so I'm going to bring it back up here. There it is. There's California. That's Monterey Bay, by the way, guys. That's Monterey Bay. I'm going to take you down south here. Okay? Down south. This is what USGS wanted us to know about Los Angeles today, right in here. Guess what? There's nothing there. There is nothing there. Over here, south of, this is south of the Garlock Fallout here, okay? We have some what they call quarry blasts. Remember me telling you about quarry blasts and USGS saying they're quarry blasts? Okay, this one here may be a quarry blast. This is Home Gardens, California. Why may it be a quarry blast? Because there's a quarry nearby right here. There's a quarry nearby right here. And west of there, we have residences. We have houses there and apartments in Home Gardens. But out here in the desert, further out here in the desert, yes, this is down below the surface of the earth. This is probably nearly a quarter of a mile deep. They may have drilled down into the crust here and set off an explosive a quarter of a mile deep out here. They may have. If not, this is a 1.4 tremor. A 1.4 tremor. Now this is not the only one. This is definitely not the only one. They continue to set them off all the darn time. Okay, notice where that one is further down south here. Okay, this one up here is a 0.9 quarry blast. Guess what? It's not a quarry blast. Look at where it's at. Okay, I just love to show you these things. When USGS labels something as a quarry blast, this is in a residential area. USGS, this is not a frickin' quarry blast. This is a 0.9 microquake in Home Gardens, California. This is also a quarter of a mile deep. A quarter of a mile deep. So I question whether that 0.9 is even a quarry blast. It's on the eastern side of a quarry, yes. Probably almost a mile east of that quarry. But I question whether they do that or not. I have shown you time and time again North San Diego County in San Marcos, California. They would have a quarry blast listed in San Marcos. I have been in San Marcos frequently. The last quarry blast there that they said was an earthquake. It was a 2.6 magnitude earthquake, minor earthquake in San Marcos, California. And they called it a quarry blast. It was in a residential neighborhood. Residential neighborhood. Now, let's go over here and look at the Salton Sea. Okay? Prior to the Salton Sea, we just have an earthquake just happened. This is in the Anza Borrego Desert. This is a 1.0 magnitude tremor that I just got through showing you here. 1.0 tremor over here in the Anza-Borrego Desert. These other tremors here are also in the Anza-Borrego Desert here. This is a 0.7, this is a 0.9, this is a 0.4. Okay, now over on the east side of the Chocolate Mountains here, this earthquake here, this is in a place called La Quinta. La Quinta. This is a resort area. This is a resort area on the eastern side of the Chocolate Mountains here. Okay, we can go south here. Okay, this is Borrego Springs that we talked about. Borrego Springs is part of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in East San Diego County, northeast San Diego County. This is a 1.3 tremor. We go further south and west here. This is in Ocotillo Wells. This is at the top of the Chocolate Mountains. At the top of the Chocolate Mountains. If you watch the first Tom Cruise movie where he was flying jet planes, you know what I'm talking about, called Tomcat, guess what? He flew over the Chocolate Mountains in a couple sequences, and you saw the Chocolate Mountains on screen. This is the Chocolate Mountains right here. Again, this earthquake just south of Borrego Springs, this was a 1.5 tremor. You saw no 1.5 tremors on that seismogram, did you? You saw earthquakes. Earthquakes. Okay? Earthquakes. I've shown you pretty much everything here in the Imperial Valley. South of the Imperial Valley in Mexico. This is in east of Puebla, Mexico. Okay? This is south of the border, and I believe the place is called Guadalupe, Victoria. Guadalupe, Victoria, back in 2010, had a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. 7.1 magnitude earthquake. Parts of Imperial Valley. Parts of Imperial Valley. Mexicali on the south. On the north side, these small towns had tremendous damage. Tremendous damage. And it wasn't limited to just that area. The entire Imperial Valley had tremendous damage all over it. All the way over here into San Diego, there was tremendous damage. Tremendous damage. Over here in the downtown area of San Diego, tremendous damage. I saw glass fall out of skyscrapers, 20 and 30-story skyscrapers here in downtown San Diego. I saw that happen. It can happen again. It will happen again. I know for a fact it will. I'm telling you, San Diego and Los Angeles is due for a very strong earthquake. You folks that live in San Diego and Los Angeles, you can count on it happening. I can't tell you when it's going to happen, but I'm telling you from everything that we've shown you, literally everything that we've shown you. And here on the USGS map, it doesn't show any earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Not a darn thing. Down here is the southern end of Mexico. This is Puerto Madero, Mexico. Off the coast is a 4.5. Just south and east of here is Guatemala. But this is the only earthquake that they're showing here in southern Mexico. But I'm telling you, there are great swarms here. There's about 40 earthquakes here in southern Mexico, and that energy is going north. Not one of those is less than a 3.5, 4.0 earthquake. More than 3.4, 3.5, 3.9, 4.0, 4.5. All those earthquakes here are that range. Whether the USGS wants to show them or not, they're there. The Riviera of Mexico, Acapulco, Zihuatanejo, Manzanillo, and Puerto Vallarta right here. They're getting hit. USGS isn't showing you. They're getting hit as well. All that energy is going north. See this red line here? This red line that runs the coast of southern Mexico and goes north through the Gulf of California. This, folks, is the San Andreas Fault. It's bringing large seismic energy all the way up into Mexico and into Southern California. It's coming. I can promise you it's coming. Now, on Monday, we talked about the Cascadia megathrust earthquake, didn't we? We showed you the activity at the volcanoes. I've checked the seismic activity all throughout this area. Southwestern Canada, Vancouver Island. Just 3 or 4 days ago, we had a 4.5 off the northwest side of Vancouver Island. Just the other day, I showed you another earthquake up here, a 4.6 on the southern end of Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia, didn't I? Seismic energy is coming out of Alaska. It's coming down here. We're soon to see 5.0 activity at least here in southwestern Canada, British Columbia, and down here in Washington and Oregon. Seismic energy is going to soon pour out of Alaska, coming down the Cascadia subduction zone fault, coming down here on the Juan de Fuca fault. It's coming, guys. We're going to get a major earthquake here. I'm putting the word out now. Everyone up and down the entire coast of North America needs to be aware that this is happening. This is happening. The Pacific plate is going up underneath the North American plate here, all up and down the coast. It's not just Washington and Oregon. It's California as well. The West Coast is in for a very strong earthquake. I'm just putting the word out. You need to be aware of it. I put the word out before on the other channel. I'm putting the word out so when it happens, you will know it. You will know where it came from and why. Because the agencies are not going to tell you. The cotton-picking agencies don't give a flying rat's butt what happens. They don't care that the earthquakes are going to kill anybody. They don't care whether people get injured or not. All they're in it for is the money. That's it. That's the bottom line. It's called greed. The politicians are controlling the USGS management. That's why. Folks, you need to be aware of what's going on around you. Down here in the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone region is Willow Creek, California. It just had a 2.7 a few minutes ago. Further south and west here earlier today, a 1.8 tremor over here in Ferndale. Ferndale had a 7.8, at least a 7.8, and I'm going to even call it an 8.0, 8.5 magnitude earthquake here several months ago. This is only a minor tremor, but it's an aftershock of that monster earthquake that hit here. They had a lot of damage in Riodale and Ferndale, and a couple other small communities in there. You guys need to be aware of it. Large earthquakes are coming. I'm putting the word out now. I wish I could give you a time element. I can't. When the time element comes, I'm going to tell you that, as soon as I possibly have information about it. But it's coming. I'm calling it now. I hope everybody within the sound of my voice tonight understands exactly what we're talking about. You need to be prepared. You need to be prepared ASAP, if not sooner. This is coming. Promise. Promise. Does anybody have any questions? Hurricane Heather says, Vanuatu just got hit by 5.0. Yesterday, I'm sorry, after we got off the air, we had a 6.3 that happened down in Papua New Guinea. It happened in the ocean off the north coast of Papua New Guinea. There were 15 felt reports, and that's all, because the ocean water, for the most part, absorbed the shock waves of that quake. 15 felt reports, and that's it. Okay? That area there is a subduction area, a major subduction area. 7 different plates, one subducting under the other, in the Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, and the South Islands of the Pacific, including Australia. A huge subduction area. 7 different plates subducting. We have a subduction area off the coast of California and one off of Washington and Oregon. You guys need to be ready. It's going to happen. Promise you. Promise you. We talked about that 5.7 off the western coast of Crete, Greece here today in the Mediterranean. That and the 6.3 off the north coast of Papua New Guinea are the biggest earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Okay? That's what's going on. Does anybody have any questions here? Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Carolyn Martin is here. I want to welcome her. She's a very dear friend of mine from many years ago. Before 2010, when I left Denver. She's a very dear soul over in Denver. Anyway, tonight I'm going to tell you about a scripture. We're going to read the scripture to you. Okay? This starts off in 1 Peter chapter 4. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 6. For this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to God in the Spirit. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Remember that? Charity will cover the multitude of sins. Verse 9. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. And verse 10. As every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another. So good stewards of the manifold grace of God. And verse 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth, and that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom he praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Okay? Why did I read you that scripture tonight? We need to have charity one for another. We need to love one another. That's what this is all about. Charity and love are the greatest gifts that God has given us besides eternal life. That's the greatest of all gifts, is eternal life in God's kingdom. But charity and love, we can manifest the glory of God to other people. Let's remember that. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Guys, I love you all. I want to thank you all for being here. Please, folks, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. We have 99 thumbs up. I love it. 99 likes. I love it. Now 101. Hit that before you leave tonight. Also, if you don't already do it, make sure you're here for the entire program. Okay? The longer you watch the program, the better. The longer you watch the program, the better. That goes into all the things that YouTube comes together and rates whether they're going to show this program and let anybody on YouTube see it. Make sure you hit those things. Also, there are probably half or over or just less than half of the people that are watching our program tonight that are not subscribed to our program. We have 450 subscribers, and we nearly have 700 people that saw our program last night. That tells me about 250 people are watching but are not subscribed. Please subscribe to this program. Those of you that are here, please check your subscriptions on a weekly basis. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. Check it on a weekly basis to make sure you're still subscribed. And when you do that, when you subscribe, make sure you click on the bell icon, that little bell sitting in a circle. Click on that, and then a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up, and click on the word all, A-L-L, all. That will get you notified when we come on the air, I hope. Because Google, YouTube doesn't do that good either. People come on the air, or people don't find out when we are on the air unless they check. Be advised, between 6 and 7 p.m. we'll be on the air Monday through Friday. On Sunday, we do a Sunday school class at 12 noon Eastern. All the times I'm talking about are Eastern Daylight Time. Between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll come on the air. At 12 noon Eastern Time on Sunday, we do a Sunday school class called Come Follow Me, the Savior Says. Or Savior Said, I'm sorry. That we do on a religious basis, really. We're not going to forget that. I think I maybe missed one class in 4 years because I was sick, wasn't feeling good. But that's our schedule, guys, so you'll know. Now, if you go over to NWC.gov, over at Rebecca, she also has a channel here on YouTube. I would encourage you to find her and subscribe to her channel as well. She's great with earthquakes and things that are going on. She's very smart. Okay, she helped put together the depth and magnitude conversion chart for earthquakes. This woman is awesome. She knows her stuff. Okay, now I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. If anything else happens, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, take it easy, enjoy your night. Okay? We will be back tomorrow at the same time. Tomorrow evening. I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. We will see you on the other side. God be with you till we meet again. We'll see you soon. Good night.